So let me go ahead and do that now. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to go through, first I'm going to talk a little bit about my schedule. So I'm going through full-time for Lambda, okay? Part-time, I don't know what their schedule is exactly like, but for full-time, it's Monday through Friday, and it is 8 p.m. Eastern, or 8 p.m. Pacific time, which is, for me, I'm Eastern, so it's 11 a.m. for me. So what happens is from 11 to 12, we do a coding challenge, right? And the coding challenges is normally things we have not covered yet. It's just to kind of give you a little taste of what's to come. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. Real fast. Let's go ahead here. Get rid of some of this. Okay. Come on, Chrome. Work with me. So for their coding challenges, they use what's called REPL or Replit. I've never really used this a whole lot, but it's kind of, it's pretty neat. So let's see here what I got. There we go. Okay. So basically, the coding challenges are all in JavaScript, but they're really basic stuff. So the very first one that we got was just a simple little bit of code that if you give it a string, it tells you, like if you give it a set of numbers, or I'm sorry, a set of strings here, it tells you which one has the many characters. You know, it just basically says which one's the longest and it puts it out. So it's normally pretty simple stuff. For this, I just used a for loop for it. But they really encourage you to kind of like learn about methods on your own. With Lambda, you're going to find that a lot of it is, it's going to be a lot of, they teach you what you need to know, but a lot of the extra things like certain methods and all of it, they really kind of say, okay, go out and you know, try this or try that. So I kind of went the bad way of doing a for loop when they're like, hey, you know, experiment with some methods and stuff. So then this next one here is just to take that string and just reverse it. So, you know, if you have hello, they want you to return O-L-L-E-H. And then the most recent one was if you give it a number, to reverse the number. You know, so we do this for about an hour in the mornings just to kind of warm up and stuff. I actually didn't do this one yet. After that, we have 2 hours of lecture. Now, as far as the lectures go, so for the first month, it's all HTML and CSS. Okay, so this here is the website that we use to do all of our, like kind of follow along and stuff. So this right here is the first week. It's just an introduction to like user interfaces. So the first and second day, we just kind of learned about like block level elements and inline elements for CSS. But the first day we learned about writing semantic HTML and whatnot. So this is kind of what the first day looked like here. So we just kind of looked a little bit into specifying, you know, the different weights like, you know, specificity and stuff, as well as like semantic HTML. At the end of each day, we have a project to do based on whatever we learned for that day. Okay, so for example, let me see if I can find, this is the very first day. Where is it? Here it is. So here's the project from the very first day. And it's just a really basic little mock-up. The first day or two, they use CodePen, but then after that, they encourage you to set up VS Code. Pretty much everybody there uses VS Code. And so they help you kind of set it up and everything. So basically, what it tells you to do for this one is it just has steps. So basically, they just want you to make this look pretty. You know, so you just kind of have to put the, you know, you have to use H1 tags, paragraphs, headers, that kind of stuff, real basic stuff. But we do those each and every day. The reason why I wanted to wait till today to actually do this was because at the end of each week, you put everything that you learned together into what they call a sprint challenge. And basically what that is instead of having lecture for that day, you literally take a full-size project and you build it from the ground up. Okay. They typically give you about 3 hours to do that. All right. So this here was my sprint challenge from today, basically. And let me go ahead here and let me open it up with my live server and kind of show you. So basically, they just kind of give you the markup, but then you have to follow the steps they say to go ahead and build this here. And the cool thing is they actually give you instructions on exactly what to do. So they give you a little README file here, for example, and they tell you step-by-step what to do. So they're like, this week we did study a little bit of Git and GitHub. If you haven't studied that yet, it's just kind of version control. So basically step one, you just fork it and clone it to your computer. You answer the questions that they ask, and the questions, what is semantic HTML? Describe the differences between a block level and an inline element. What are the 4 areas of the box model? That kind of stuff. And then you kind of get into actually doing some code. So what it wanted you to do is take each one of these boxes and make them a different color, for example. At first they were all black. After that, then they wanted you to go ahead and create the about page and just kind of do the semantic HTML. So you basically, we use Flexbox for this. And, we went ahead and just wrote the code and created this little thing. And that's basically what I did for, 4 hours today, basically, is just kind of building this. So that's just kind of a little bit about what you're going to learn. I've been self-studying this for a while now, so I already kind of am a little familiar with some of this stuff, but they teach it extremely well. There's a lot of people in my class that have never even, some of these people have never even opened up an IDE before. They actually had to do an entire day on setting up VS Code because nobody even knew what VS Code was. So they will literally take you from 0 to 60, the whole time, which is really, really cool. Some of the really neat things they give us is they give us like a Slack. So this is our Slack. They have literally hundreds of Slack channels. I'm not in all of them just because it's just a lot to keep up with. You're going to be digging all day long. You're going to have to keep checking these messages and stuff. But basically for mine, they have just a regular Slack channel for us. This is just kind of where during class where they post everything. They'll post links and stuff. They'll kind of hype each other up and everything. It's really, really cool. My favorite one, though, is the Hired. The Hired is super, super cool to look at. Because it'll literally show you people who have recently, this was just the other day, they'll post like offer letters and whatnot to actually show that they're really getting jobs here. Like this lady here, starts on the 9th, which is what, Tuesday? Yeah, so she starts on Tuesday. Her new job is a web developer and whatnot, which is really, really cool to look at. There's some people here who don't, I don't know if they do it for like privacy's sake, but some people don't. Like this guy right here, he didn't hide his annual salary. So this is what his offer letter looked like. This guy right here ended up getting, $4,000 a month and a 12.6K compensation, to start as a, he's a web or software developer. There's another guy who just got a job recently as a game programmer, I think. So it's pretty cool to actually watch that these people are actually getting jobs and such and everything, which is really, really cool. They also offer like announcements and stuff. One of the really neat things about Lambda is on Saturdays, there is no like mandatory class, but they always have at least a couple of program managers that'll actually open up Zooms for you to come and join, and you just ask questions, you just hang out and stuff. Like you can get a bunch of extra help. One thing that I'm really looking forward to is they actually allow you to attend these, what they call after hours, which is just places where you can go and ask questions and stuff. You can sit in on after hours for another track altogether. So if you wanted to learn a little bit about like Android development or iOS development, you can. You could just go and just hang out, maybe learn a little bit of Android development or something if you want. One thing that I'm looking forward to is UI and UX development. Just because as a full stack developer, it'd be useful to learn a little bit of design and stuff. You can actually sit in on these and learn some stuff. So you're not just, if you're just kind of, I don't know if I want to do iOS development. I don't know if I want to do like full stack. You can kind of sort of do both. You can focus on one and just attend the after hours of another if you want, which is super, super neat. So everybody is put into a small cohort with a program manager of their own. So this is my cohort here. There's only 11 of us in here, which makes things super personal. Once or twice a week, at least once a week, sometimes 3 times a week, he'll actually do a 30-minute one-on-one session with you where he looks at your code, helps you to understand, what you could do better. They'll nitpick the crap out of your code if you want them to and say, hey, everything looks good except for maybe you should consider, using more semantic markup here. They kind of not discourage, but they want you to kind of get away from just making divs on everything. And they teach you like article, section, all of that. So they'll kind of push that home pretty good. So you get a lot of feedback. If you need a lot of extra help, there's always people there to help you. If you actually post, like during the class and stuff, they have project managers who are there specifically. So if you ask a question in chat, they answer it right away. Like I've asked quite a few, off the wall questions, and I was really surprised. They'll actually have your answer. They'll actually have you answered within, a minute or two. And the teacher doesn't even have to stop what they're doing, to kind of answer everything. Because there are, I think, about 55 or so people in full stack development, 15, which is what mine is. But I've definitely been learning a lot. They go very quickly, though. You will learn a ton. Like this week, we learned about floats. We learned about, we learned about floats. And then the next day we went straight to Flexbox. And then right after that, we spent an entire day on Git and GitHub, which is super cool. I've never learned about that before, but it's absolutely amazing. It's a great way to share your projects and stuff. And then basically today we just did our sprint challenge. Next week, we're learning on Tuesday, we're learning responsive programming. And then on Wednesday, we're learning about preprocessors already in CSS. So if you've never looked at like Sass or less, that's a pretty advanced topic, and they're already covering in like week number 2. So it's really crazy how much you learn, and you actually do learn. Like I thought I would be lost pretty quick, but I wasn't. They make sure that they shove a lot down your throat, but they make sure that you are digesting it properly as well. They're not just kind of putting the hose to you and you sink, you swim. It doesn't really matter. They actually do care about whether you succeed, which is super, super cool. Let's see some of the other projects and whatnot that I have here. Let's see, I have 3 total. So my second one, which is this one here, let's see.
Hey, Thomas.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm gonna run out, but great job. Good luck with Lambda. Keep studying and keep us posted.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it, Timur.
Yeah. You too. Good night, Claire and Rosa. I'll talk to you soon.
Good night.
Take care.
All right. I love Timur. He's awesome. Like, seriously, he's super, super cool. I would have never actually learned about Lambda if it wasn't for him. He's the one that actually turned me on to it to begin with. Really neat. This right here is really stupid and ugly, but this right here was one of our first projects where basically it's really simple. So basically the way that it works is when you have a project to do, let me reopen up my project here. You have these things to do. These are must-dos, right? But then they have what they call stretch goals. And stretch goals are just extra things that'll give you extra credit on your projects. The things that they don't teach you, you're just expected to kind of learn on your own. Like here, they want you to use like animations. So they want you to create an animation. Here's another one. They wanted you to make breakpoints for stuff that we haven't even covered yet. But if you want to study on your own, you can. And this project here, this stupid border thing was just part of the stretch goal. And then it's also a fixed navigation as well. So it's fixed to the top of the page as well. I also made it transparent. It's really ugly and not practical, but it got me a 3. So, and by the way, you're graded on a scale of 1 to 3 with your projects. 1 means you didn't do anything. 2 just means you did everything that you need to do. And then 3 just means you did everything you need to do and you did at least 1 flex goal. So, or stretch goal, I'm sorry. So, I mean, that's just kind of, some silly things that we ended up doing. This was day 1 or day 2. I don't remember. But it's super ugly. If I can find, I think I actually deleted it, but It was I had it animated so that like the pictures just kind of like flickered or something really ugly and stupid. Like if you watched it too long, it might give you a seizure. It was just so bad, but it was really cool though. But this is just kind of some of the stuff you're going to do with Lambda. Are either one of you looking into doing Lambda?
I'm not even. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was considering, but I'm also considering others.
Okay. I was considering when I first started, I started thinking about either Thinkful or Lambda. I was considering both of those because at the time I had a full-time job. So I was just kind of like, okay, well, both of them offer part-time and both of them are deferred. So they were both good. I ended up choosing Lambda because Lambda is taught live. So you actually have scheduled live instruction, whereas Thinkful, it's all text-based. So basically, they give you a website with documents. You read the documents, you do what the documents say, and then like 3 times a week you have a 1-hour mentorship with a mentor. I'm not a big fan of reading, and I don't learn very well with reading. So I was like, yeah, I need some live instruction. So I went, so I ended up going with Lambda. If anything, Lambda does offer that 2-week intro course, and it's absolutely free, and it's pretty late at night too. So I know Rosa said that you currently don't have a job. I don't know if you have a job, Claire, but it's normally towards the evening. So if you do have like other responsibilities, I definitely recommend taking a look at it because they teach you everything from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And they're live instructed, and you can ask questions. And it's 2 weeks long. So it's not like they're just kind of giving you like a little bit here or a little bit there. They're actually teaching you JavaScript, which is pretty neat.
I'm not even learning JavaScript, HTML, or CSS. That's why I was kind of, I asked you if you only going to talk about your experience at Lambda.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, so before I did Lambda, I did self-studying for about 6 months. I used like Team Treehouse. I did a little bit of Code Academy, but again, I'm not really a big fan of reading, so Code Academy and I really didn't jive very well. Goodness, I have a boatload. Let me show you all my Udemy courses. Oh my God. I have like Udemy courses up the butt for, pretty much any type of programming, but especially web development. Just because what I would find is that I would get a course, I'd really like it, but then we would talk about a subject and it didn't cover that subject very well, right? So here I have 2 JavaScript courses. I have the one here from Jonas, which is pretty good. And then I have the other one here from Brad Traversy, which Brad actually has a really, really good YouTube channel. He's basically a content creator and he teaches front-end web development and also back-end as well, I believe. But I have 2 of those. I have I have at least 3, for web development courses, period, and stuff. I have a couple iOS courses. I've bounced around a lot because I didn't know what I wanted to do. But I've done a lot of different courses. I've self-studied for a while. It took me a while to get to JavaScript, but here's the thing. I personally feel that if you want to become a web developer, I personally find that it's most important to focus on JavaScript because it's more difficult, right? You can spend a month learning, HTML and CSS, but it doesn't really take that long, right? As long as you know how like selectors work, you can literally Google how to make like that nav bar that was fixed to the top of the screen, and you can learn how to do that within like 2 seconds if you have like even a small inkling of how CSS works. So, I personally the 6 months that I did self-study, I probably spent like 4 of those learning HTML and CSS, and that was just way too much. Like, I feel as though that it's best to maybe spend like 2 or 3 weeks on HTML and CSS, and then just to kind of jump to JavaScript. Because you're going to use JavaScript just a little bit, but it's important to know how it works. Like basically with JavaScript, you're just going to be animating your buttons to make your buttons like submit or do something, for the most part. But there's some pretty cool things you can do with it. but yeah, Claire, I mean, if you have any questions about coding or in general, like any languages, I'll definitely be more than happy to kind of talk about that. I was just going to give like a brief overview of like my Lambda experience, just because that's really my only experience that I have with the boot camp,
Well,
Bless you. What were we saying?
I was saying that so I am not even on the web development path. I'm more into data science.
Okay.
That's why I've mostly been taking courses on Python and SQL.
Mhm.
Um, Jarek he told me about the Lambda data science program.
Mm-hmm.
I did look into it, but for financial reason, I said I think that, and then the thing is also I had been considering going for my master's. Although when I compare the two, I feel like Lambda it's more intensive than my actual master's program. The only difference is it's the master's program is cheaper, and at the end of the day, you end up with a master's. But I
Yeah.
think that what's more important is learning the skills and not really the degree that you have. So their data science program is like I was looking at the curriculum. It's pretty intensive.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. This is the actual material that only students have access to, and you can see I have access to everything. Like I'm full stack, but I still have access to data science, iOS, Android, UX, UI design. We have access to all this stuff. Now, you know, you're going to want to pick one, but yeah, if you do go for your master's, I think it's looked highly upon to have your master's, but you're going to need to like do something you're going to have to teach yourself in your spare time. Because at least what I found is people who graduate from university and stuff, they don't really graduate with much coding experience. They
Yeah,
have, like some fundamental knowledge and logical experience, but actually like coding, they really don't have much idea. So you're gonna want to definitely do a lot of self-studying.
I can testify to that because I got my bachelor's in information system, and I only did some basic Java, and I took a web development class, and when I took the class I had to build a website, but asked me to do that now, and I would look at you and say I can't do it because I already forgot everything. And I have a friend who's actually a CS major, and I was asking her, what programming language are you learning? And it's like every 2 to 3 weeks they just teach them the basic of um so he was learning C plus and Java and
Yes.
some other programming language, but like they only stay on them for like 2 to 3 weeks. They don't really like go into depth with them on the languages,
Yeah. A
which
lot of
is why, yeah.
Yeah, I had a couple friends who were CS majors, and like they would go to class, they would leave class, and I'd be like, "So what'd you learn today?" They're like, "Well, we learned a little about Java." It's like, okay, well, like they could probably tell me like how to make a variable, but that's about it. And they've been doing it for they've been in school for a long time. Um, but I mean, I don't know. I feel as though that this right here is probably one of the better ways. Lambda, so at least with Lambda, and a lot of other schools do it too, where they have what they call hiring partners, or they actually, like Lambda, I know they build their curriculum based on what, based on based on whatever companies that they're with, whatever they want. So Lambda is owned by a company that owns like 40 or 50 other companies, I believe. And what Lambda does is they teach the students, and they try to feed those students into technology companies that they are like sister companies with and whatnot. So what they do is they will literally go to these hiring managers for these other companies and be like, okay, so what do you want, in a new hire? And they say, okay, well, we want them to know HTML and CSS and JavaScript, and they need to know React and this and that. And Lambda's like, okay, cool. And then they go and they make a curriculum, and they basically teach you what they're told that they're looking to hire.
I think that's the right way to go, because you're learning to later on get a job, and if you don't have the skill the employer is looking for, what was the point of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're learning like like something like Java, for example, right? I mean, that's not a good first language to learn because it's really complicated
Oh my gosh.
and it's absolutely insane. So most people, I mean, they take the class, they pass the class, and they never write code again. So this, for example, is the first exercise for the first day of data science I was looking at. So it's like, it's a gas, a taxi, blah, blah, and this goes over my head big time. For these word problems used, so basically you're just using Python to solve like an actual problem, right? This isn't just, write a function or I'll write this. It's like, here's an actual like word problem, fix it, which is really cool. Like they don't, like with self-learning, what I found is I'll spend for every hour at Lambda that I learned, it would have taken me like a month to learn it on my own, right? Because they actually like teach you the basics and then they show you how to apply it right away. So it's like, okay, well, this is how you use Flexbox. Let's build something with it, as opposed to you just trying to memorize all the different, aspects and crazy crap that goes along with it. So I'm really enjoying it. It's insane how much that I'm actually learning. This is stuff I haven't, like CSS and stuff I haven't done in months. And I'm picking it up pretty quick. And people in my class, like I was telling Rosa earlier, there's people in my class they don't even know how to download a text editor. There's people that in my class that were like, well, what's VS Code? How do you download that? Like we actually had to show them how to download a program. And these are people, and they're doing really well. So that's just kind of a testament that, there's people who know nothing that are actually doing really well. I was really, really surprised.
I attended a live session. Well, I got the replay that Codecademy did a couple of weeks ago. They were teaching people how to download VS Code and use it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who don't know how to do that and stuff, and actually don't have. I love VS Code. I personally don't really like what they call like sandbox systems, like CodePen and stuff. I don't really like those because you can't really, to the best of my knowledge at least, you really can't add like photos to it and stuff. Like, you're kind of limited on the stuff that you can do. I mean, maybe you can. I've just never really experimented with it. But I definitely recommend CodePen. Everybody at Lambda uses CodePen, or I'm sorry, not CodePen. VS.
Yeah, I used it before.
So, hey, Will, I'm just in here, man.
Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, so I mean, definitely I would definitely take a look at it. I don't know if you can. I think you need a username and password as a student to get to this. This is, this right here is if you're interested in data science. If you have the mind for this kind of thing, definitely go for it. I wish I had that kind of mind. I've got a good logical mind, I think, but thinking in terms of what data science requires you to think in, that goes over my head big time. But I was telling Rosa earlier though, if you become a Lambda student, what's really neat is they hold what's called after hours. And what that is it's basically if you need help, or sometimes they just want you to come and hang out and like help your fellow students and stuff. What's really neat about after hours is you have access to after hours of every single track, not just the one that you're enrolled in. So if you're enrolled in data science, you can go and watch, the Android development after hours if you want. So you can, you're not limited to just learning whatever you're into. You have access to the entire Lambda curriculum for every single track.
Wow. How long does that last? Like when you graduate, can you still go back and say, I want to learn a little Android and then just go to the classes?
I know that they keep you there kind of for like 6 months, I think. I think they give you 6 months after graduating and you have full access to the curriculum, to everything, to the Slack channel, and all that good stuff. Beyond that, I really don't know. They might have some sort of like alumni type thing. Where you might still have access to it for a while, but I really couldn't say beyond 6 months. But they give you a lot of time. So if you don't know, Lambda is a 6-month full-time program, 12-month part-time program. Now, to the best of my knowledge, only Full Stack has part-time so far, but I think I did hear somebody say that iOS development is implementing part-time soon. As well as I think data science, I think also has a part-time program, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Yeah, I think Jarek is doing the part-time iOS program, if I'm not mistaken.
Really, I know he's doing No, I know
Oh,
he's doing full-time.
Swift, sorry.
Yeah,
Wait.
no, that's great. No, that is iOS development. Swift is the language for it, but no, he is doing
Yes, yes.
full-time. So I did tell Rosa earlier that if you want to do full-time for Lambda, for full stack development especially, I know they have several of these experiments going on, but I only know about the full stack development. There is a stipend that you can apply for of $1,000 a month for 7 months. It helps you to like cover your bills and stuff so that you can actually commit full time, right?
Wow.
And they give that to you for 7 months. The course is only 6 months. However, they give you the $1,000 a month for 7 months just to give you that extra month. Because they say that on average, they see that it takes people between 2 to 4 weeks to find a job upon graduation. So they want to try to help you, to support you for that extra month, which is super neat. Real quick, I think I only told Rosa, but I'm going to go ahead and reiterate my schedule. So I'm on the East Coast. So I'm going to talk in Pacific time because what they call Lambda time. Lambda is a West Coast thing. So at 8 a.m. they do at 8 a.m. you have a code challenge to do, right? And this is what the code challenges look like. Now again, this is for full stack. This is going to be different for everybody. But I do believe that if you're doing full time, every single one of them will have a code challenge in the morning. So for me, it's JavaScript. And basically you have 1 hour to complete this, and you can kind of complete it however you want. There's no right or wrong way to do it. They want you to kind of use like higher order functions, but you don't have to. So the first one on day one, we got one to where we had to, write some code, write a function and stuff that takes an array of strings, and it basically tells you which string has the longest value, for example. Which isn't too crazy complicated. You can literally Google that, and you'll actually find the answer. You can actually copy and paste the answer in, and they don't care whether you do that or not. The next one is taking those strings and just reversing them. So if you have the word hello, they just want you to make the computer print it out backwards. And again, I just use a for loop for that, but you can use basically any method that you want. That was my solution for it. But basically, you're not graded on your code challenges. They just kind of want to know where you're at, so if they need to, they'll like specialize the curriculum for you. Maybe give you like an extra 15 minutes with a mentor or something to kind of help with that, which is super, super neat. So after the code challenge, what is it? 9 o'clock at 9 o'clock Pacific time, you have 2 hours of a lecture. And basically what happens is you just sit there and it's a live lecture, and the person shares their screen and they go over and they teach you whatever it is that you're learning for that day. So I'm going to go and pull up my curriculum here and we'll take a look. So week number 1, and this actually shows you what you learn. So in week 1, you learn basic user interface in Get. Week number 2, you use advanced CSS, like preprocessors and stuff. Then week 3 is JavaScript, and then you apply that JavaScript. And then, you're going to learn some React. And all of a sudden, now you're into backend. Now you're into, Redux and APIs and stuff. So basically what like my week looked like, for example, is, day number 2, for example, that's when we actually got into some CSS. But this is just kind of what you talk about. You talk about like the box model, padding, margin, borders, all that good stuff. He basically spends 2 hours teaching it. After he's done teaching it, you then have lunch for an hour. So from 11 to 12, you have lunch. And then after that, you basically, at the end of every day, you have a project to do. And the project is based on whatever you learned for that day. So for example, let me go ahead. I'll pull up my project here. oh, let me see. Let me do this. Let me again pull my project up, which I did show Rosa briefly. It's really stupid and ugly. But so for day number 2, this is what this is what my stuff looked like. Come on. There it is. Yeah. So basically, what they do is, you just have to kind of write the HTML. They give you all the content. You just have to wrap it in whatever wrapper or HTML element that you need to kind of create it. And then after that, we just kind of styled it. Nothing too crazy. It's just normal CSS stuff. And then let me see here. Let me open this up with my live server. If I can. Nope, I can't because I already have stuff open.
Hey Thomas, did you also install the live server extension on there? It works really well.
Yeah, I have it. I have it right here. The
oh,
thing
nice. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to open. But the thing with live server is if you open something else, if you have 2 VS Codes open at a time and you already have live server running on one, it throws an error.
Yeah.
So I have to close my other one, which is really kind of silly. But it's just really something super silly. I'll just open it up here in my Google Chrome. There it is.
One of the workarounds that you can do in the future, if you wish to open 2 live servers, is just change the port. I believe.
Yeah, I saw that.
80.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't know how. I think I found something on changing the port. It's just I didn't get into it. I'm definitely gonna have to though. So have to open. But this is just really what the project looks like. It's really ugly and stupid, but it helps you to reinforce whatever you learned that day. So for us, it was just box model crap.
I like it. It's a great start.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I did tell Rosa is every Friday. So the reason why I wanted to wait till Friday to make this was because Friday is when you're actually graded. So on Fridays, instead of having a lecture, instead you wake up and you immediately start on what they call a sprint challenge, where they give you a great big full-size project and you have to create it beginning to end using everything that you learned that week. So for us, we had to create something using semantic HTML, Flexbox. We had to use Git and GitHub because we learned Git and GitHub yesterday, and all of that good stuff. And you have, I believe, 4 hours to complete that, which is you would think it's quite a bit of time, but the amount of stuff you have to do, I actually scraped in the extra stuff I scraped in right there, right before it ended. It was just so much to do. But basically what they do is they give you a README file that tells you exactly what to do. So, step number 1 here is just to fork it off of Git and to, clone it. And, you have to commit it and push it and all that good stuff. You have to answer these questions here for them. So describe semantic HTML. What are the differences between display block and display inline? What are the 4 areas of box model, which you'll learn all about that. What is the access of ally items, all that good stuff. And then after that, you start coding and stuff. You do all of this here, and basically it just kind of culminates to one big project. And you would be surprised how much of the stuff you actually know. Within 1 week, you can go from nothing to learning a lot of stuff. There are several people in my cohort that didn't even know how to install VS Code. They never even had an IDE installed in their life. And and they're in my class, and they're doing all of this. So it's a lot to learn, but you learn all of it. So basically, let me see if I can pull this one up, or is it going to give me an error again? Oh, no, here we go. Okay, so this right here was my sprint challenge here. So basically, what you had to do is you just had to put these in containers, do the CSS. You need to, so all of these boxes are originally black. You choose whatever method you want to change them. So I use nthchild for all of them just because I wanted to use nthchild. And which, if you don't know what that is, you'll definitely learn about that at some point. It's really cool. And then you basically just make some extra pages as well. So this right here was the Flexbox page we had to make and stuff. And like I said, I had about maybe 4 hours to complete all of this, and some other stuff as well. And I even made it a little responsive as well. So it's definitely not, particularly pretty, but they do encourage you to write semantic HTML and write it responsive. That way you're not, kind of wasting your time and stuff, which is super, super cool.
Did
So
you
that
ever
was a challenge.
use Flexbox on this?
Yep, this was Flexbox.
Flexbox, okay. Have
Yeah.
you personally ever messed with CSS Grid before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Now I messed with it. I think I watched several YouTube videos on that. I think I watched one by Traversy Media,
Yeah,
which was really, really good one. I learned a lot from that, as well as Kevin Powell is another really good YouTuber as well that does teaching videos and stuff like that. I did use CSS Grid, but like with CSS Grid, for something as simple as this, it's not really useful. Now, if you're making like a mosaic or something of like a photographer website, CSS Grid would be really, really good for that. I don't know if we learned CSS Grid in Lambda. I really couldn't say. I don't think so. I think we learned Flexbox, and I don't even know if they teach us a front-end framework, honestly. But basically, like I was telling them, is what they do is, because Lambda is owned by a big, company that owns many other tech companies. So what Lambda does is they go to these sister companies of theirs and ask them specifically what they need their new hires to know, and they build their curriculum based off what these tech companies say that they're hiring for. And then that way, after you graduate, they try to pair you with these sister companies to give you a job right away. So you're actually learning things that you need to know. But yeah, this year was Flexbox. For day number 2, because day number 1 we really didn't do much. Day number 2 we learned about the box model, and we created a website with floats. We had to use floats, which was a nightmare. I hate floats so much. And then day number 2 was all about Flexbox, and the project for that was literally take the project that you did yesterday and refactor it with Flexbox. And it literally took like 5 minutes, because Flexbox is like so much better than floats.
Oh yeah.
But,
Did you have to apply to the program first before taking their pre-course?
so I did it really strangely. So what you do is you apply, and you basically just give them like your contact information. And after you do that, they send you an email. And in the email, it says, to get accepted to Lambda, there's 2 ways you can do it. The number 1 is you just take the code challenge. Now, each track is going to be different. I know Jarek he's doing iOS development, and he said his was like 40 questions and it wasn't timed. So he did his over like a 2-day period or something for iOS development. For front-end development, it's 3 questions long. You have 45 minutes to complete all 3. And it's all JavaScript. Basically, it's all about functions and prototypes and prototype inheritance, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
But
So
the really
depending on your path.
the really cool thing about it is you can not only can you take the challenge as many times as you want. The link never expires. You only have to pass it once. I think I passed it on the 3rd time. So basically what I did was I always got to the very last one, and then I ran out of time. So what I did was I copied and pasted it into my own text editor and played with it until
That's the way to do it.
right? But the problem
Yeah, I remember you were saying that in the code body chat.
The problem with that is, though, the questions, there are, I think they have a pool of questions, and they're randomized. So you're not always going to get the same questions each time. So you know the answer to the question, it might not help you with the next one. But the good thing is it's always the same subjects. So like for me, I kind of struggled a little bit on like prototypes. So I failed it the first time, copied and pasted it into my own text editor, Googled prototype, put up a 10-minute video on prototypes, learned prototypes, redid it again. There was something, I can't remember what the other thing I failed was. And then when I took it the 3rd time, because I learned, I basically self-taught prototypes, like just because of that, and I passed. Right, in the email, they give you 2 links. They give you the first link is to the challenge. The second link is to sign up for their 2-week course. You only have to do one or the other. You only either have to pass the challenge or you have to attend the 2-week course. If you do either one of those, you're in automatically. Basically, she does a little 10-minute interview with you, but it has nothing to do with you as a person. She's like, how long you've been coding, what are some of the challenges in coding you faced, where do you live and where do you want to work at? And that's about it. She's like, okay, well, I'll let you know within 24 hours. And in 24 hours, she sends you an email and saying, hey, this is your start date.
Oh, right
Cool.
on. How's your overall experience with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript prior to getting to the program?
Okay, so I self-studied. I used Team Treehouse. I used I showed Rosa earlier. I have a great big freaking thing of Udemy courses. I have a boatload of Udemy courses. I used all of these resources to self-study over about a 6-month period. Now, I knew HTML and CSS, but prior to starting Lambda, I hadn't touched HTML and CSS for like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Because like I told Rosa, I feel as though that it's extremely important. Focus on JavaScript, right? Yeah. HTML, CSS is really simple when you actually take a little bit of time to learn it, right? Like within the first week of Lambda, you're going to learn all about HTML, CSS. What you learn within the first week of HTML, CSS, and Lambda, you can do everything with. JavaScript, at least for me, is somewhat difficult because it makes you think in very logical ways. So I had a good grasp on HTML and CSS, but then I didn't do it for 3 months, so I lost it. And then I spent the next 3 months learning JavaScript. Now, for me, and even to this day, I can make variables, I can make arrays and objects and stuff. I know how those work. I know how to grab the information out of them, but I don't really know how to do anything useful with them. I know event listeners, I can make a button click and do things and all of that, but nothing crazy. You can learn that stuff in like a week. The amount of stuff that I learned isn't really all that much. So have the exposure to HTML, CSS. If you even know a little bit of HTML, CSS, you're going to learn all of HTML, CSS very quick. It's very easy to learn. JavaScript, on the other hand, I feel as though you should really, really focus on that. Because like I said, you have code challenges every day, and the code challenges are always JavaScript related. Even before, we're not going to touch JavaScript for another 3 weeks, but every day we still have JavaScript, challenges and stuff. I mean, it's really simple stuff, but you want to have a good handle on it.
Oh, right on.
Your life.
So overall, you've been getting started with coding for the last 6 months, give or take?
Yeah, I'd say about 6 months, but okay, the last 6 months, but kind of off and on. Some days I wouldn't do it for a couple of days and stuff. And when you're learning this, if you don't do it for a day or two, you lose, at least for me, I forgot a lot of it. If I didn't do coding for a day, I would have to go back and rewatch some of the stuff I already did just to get an idea. So I've had exposure to HTML and CSS, but I wasn't particularly good at any of them.
Oh, I see. Change the topic real quick. I'm curious on your background. Mm-hmm. Prior to getting coding, did you go to college for CS or some sort, or business?
So I went to college for an extremely short time. So kind of getting a little bit personal a little bit. So I went to college for a short time. I was actually an accounting major, right? I don't know why. I love accounting. Even to this day, I think that material is freaking awesome. But I liked accounting. My dad ended up getting sick. And because I had to keep taking him to chemo appointments, I kept failing my classes. Eventually, I failed out of college. At the time, I was a high school janitor. Okay, so I worked as a janitor for that. When my dad ultimately ended up passing away, last year, I decided I needed to do something. Right now I'm 27 years old. I was a high school janitor, no college, no nothing, and I needed to do something. And I came across, if you've never seen him before, Chris Sean is a YouTuber. I started watching his videos and I started getting inspired because this is a really, high paying, high valued career path that you can get access to without having any sort of without any sort of college education, That's a little background on me. I was never a programmer or anything like that. Actually, if you ever talk to my girlfriend, she actually she asked me to take up computer programming. She's like, I think you'd be really good at it. I'm like, no, I hate that stuff. When I was in high school, we had the option to go to what they call a VOTEC, or a vocational school, for the last 2 years of high school. And I took IT networking, right? So I worked on, I learned servers and that kind of crap. And I hated it. I hate computers so much. I don't know why, but now I really like this, you know?
Wow.
But,
Wow.
yes.
Yeah, you and I actually have a very similar.
Do what?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll tell you, and I have a very similar background. I actually studied accounting and on the health science and business, and now I'm just doing like a whole career change. And I actually work full time in IT networking. So I'm doing
really?
this, well, yeah. I've been teaching myself how to code for the last 2 years, back in 2016, 2017, and I have a portfolio. I can build stuff more front end. That's why it's great to just hear your background and your experience. You know, just going from me coming in, having learning 2 years on my own. I'm debating whether I should just quit or just work or just quit my full-time IT job and just dedicate to this. So I'm kind of 50-50 on it.
So what I did, and I don't know if I recommend this or not. Okay.
Yeah.
But this is what I did. Okay.
Yeah.
Recently I got a job working with Apple. I did work at home technical support for Apple. Right.
Oh, right.
So I did that for like a couple of weeks. And I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, the pay was okay. You know, it was good. I got to work for Apple. I got to work in my bedroom and all that good stuff, but I just wasn't happy. So this is what I decided to do, right? I don't really go anywhere. I don't really do anything. And I had a car, right? My dad died. He left me as a 2012 Chevy Impala LTZ, right? He left that to me and stuff. And I thought, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to sell the car. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to support myself for 6 months, right? I had enough money to support myself for about 7 or 8 months. I'm like, I'm going to support myself because I am going to learn web development. Now, at first, I was like, I'm going to learn this on my own. I was dedicated to self-teach for the next 6 months. I'm like, okay, I got like $10,000. I'm going to throw it in our bank and just live off of this and learn web development. Not long after that, I actually ended up getting in contact with Timur. I think it was either Timur or his brother Artur, that sent me a random ass message on Instagram that was like, hey, are you interested in tech? And I was like, yes.
Are you marketing?
Well, yeah, that's why I thought it was a scam, right? Because what it was a picture of my Instagram, and it was a picture of my code on Team Treehouse, right? And he commented, he's like, are you interested in tech? I'm like, well, yeah, why else would I post a picture of me coding, you know? And then he randomly sent me a little invite to their little webinar thing. And then after that, you know, I got a call from Ruben. After that, I got invited to the whole thing and, you know, started talking to Ruben, started, you know, talking to, you know, everybody in there. And it just kind of grew from there. I didn't have any intention on going to any boot camp, right? All I knew was boot camps were expensive. I didn't know of any deferred payment programs or anything. And like, if you actually watch some YouTube videos, a lot of like self-taught developers will say, oh, you don't need a boot camp. You could just self-learn it. And that's what they did. And Timur introduced me to Lambda, which really got me interested was because Lambda, you don't pay anything until after you get a job. So I was like, okay, well, that seems pretty cool. And then I learned about their what I think they called it Experiment 3, which is where they give you $1,000 a month stipend. And they could do 7 months. I'm like, cool, you know, I can get an extra $1,000 a month, help to live on that, and, you know, learn web development stuff. And then that's whenever I started getting interested in Lambda, right? I never really had interest in boot camps and stuff. I've never really come from like any sort of programming background or anything. I mean, for Christ's sake, I was a freaking janitor, you know, for 6 or 7 years, you know?
Yeah.
But I've definitely fallen in love with this, you know, learning this type of stuff. I was going to show you guys like my Udemy course. This just kind of shows you how indecisive I've ever been, right? So I have courses here, all kinds of crap. I have 2 JavaScript courses. I have the JavaScript course from Traversy Media. You know, another one, I have Brad Traversy's React, which I haven't really looked at. I even dabbled a bit in Swift. So I have some Swift here and stuff. I have, I think I have a Java course as well, because I even have a Python course. I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just kind of bouncing around and stuff. And I just kind of decided on web development. And
do you know anything about Python?
I can make variables. I'll tell you right now, Python is is my single most favorite language.
It's easy to learn.
Syntax, yeah. It is ridiculously stupid easy to learn. There's no brackets. There's nothing like that. But no, I'm only 15% into that course. And that is a course that I touched like months and months ago. So stuff that I did learn, I don't remember anymore, honestly. But, I just kind of dabbled in a bunch of different things. But, yeah, this past week at Lambda is absolutely insane. Like the amount of stuff that we had to learn and everything. I definitely showed Rosa earlier. This is probably one of my favorite parts of Lambda is their Slack. They literally have hundreds of channels for everything, right? So like this right here is the one for my class here. So like whenever we're doing live instruction, everything is posted here. They'll post like little helpful links to kind of help you, learn some things and stuff. Neat little games that they showed us. Sometimes we just kind of goof off in here as well. One of my favorite ones though is the Hired. So Hired is basically where the recent students will post pictures of them with their acceptance letter to show that they're actually getting hired. Like this one here was just from the other day. There's ones here like this right here. Actually, he actually some of them will blank out their salary, but this one right here he actually showed his salary. So he just got a brand new job. Making $4,000 a month, and he ended up getting a 12.6K sign-on bonus.
Oh, right on.
So I mean, it's crazy. These people are actually getting jobs, and I mean, these are really, really new stuff too. These right here aren't like too old and stuff. Like I think here's another one here. His is iOS though, but he ended up getting, that's his job offer there of 75K and stuff and stock options and all of that. But there's it's really, really neat. One of the really neat things about Lambda though with their Slack is you have access to what they call after hours, which typically happens on Saturdays, where there's no class on Saturdays. Class is only Monday through Friday for full time, but on Saturdays they'll typically spend like 5 or 6 hours where they just open up a Zoom channel, have you come in and just basically talk about any sort of help that you need with anything. But the cool thing is you have access to every single after hours for every single track. So you can go and watch it. So if you're in full stack, you can go watch an iOS development after hours, or a UI UX development after hours, or an Android development, or data science, or whatever. So you have access to their entire curriculum.
Do you I just forgot my question.
I have a question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just remembered. Do you know beforehand the programming languages that they going to focus on throughout the course?
They do. Somewhere on the website I saw. Now, again, I'm not speaking only from Full Stack, but I know that on their website they were saying like all the different languages that they teach and stuff, and like the preprocessors and stuff. Like I think they use Less, which surprised me because everywhere that I looked, they're like, oh, Less is just kind of the old preprocessor, but apparently Lambda teaches Less. But let me see if I can. That stupid little pull down's in the way. But I know for let's see, learn about Lambda. They'll like show you all the stuff like in Full Stack you learn like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You're going to learn React. You learn Redux as well for the JavaScript framework. You're going to learn Node.js for the back end. Obviously, you're going to learn like APIs, all that cool stuff. But they actually give you the curriculum ahead of time. So I can actually look and see exactly what I'm learning. Right? So this right here is the first week. First week was just, user interfacing Get. Next week, I'm learning all about preprocessors and, that kind of stuff. Third week, we're going into JavaScript. Fourth week, more JavaScript. Fifth week, I'm not sure what that kind of is. It's like a big project. I think it's like an all-encompassing JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. And then next month, we're getting into React. So we're going to go into React. We're going to get some Redux done, into some APIs, Node.js, authentication, testing, everything. which is pretty neat. Now, this right here is something that I learned that was super exciting. This is something that I'm shooting for. So what I didn't know is Lambda will hire they'll oftentimes hire students upon completion. So what they do is students that have done particularly well can apply to be a project manager for Lambda. So what happens is normally with Lambda, you go through, your, I think it's you go through 5 months, and then the 6th month is all about like career services and all of that. So basically, if you want to, you can defer graduation to become a project manager, which is paid. They actually, pay you as an employee to be a project manager for the next cohort. So there's actually an employment opportunity just for being a student. If you're a good student, if you learn everything, if you can demonstrate, and you basically finish everything up, you can apply to be a project manager. And you don't even have to look for a job outside of Lambda, at least right away. I don't know what the pay is like, but from what I understand, it's fairly comfortable.
That's great. How's your overall, like, what's it called? Like your physical and mental health so far being in this, just being on the screen pretty much all day?
Okay, so
Yeah.
definitely something that that's definitely something that I try my best to try to keep as balanced as possible. So what I end up doing is in the morning it's about 3 hours, and then you go to lunch. It's an hour-long lunch. What I try to do is I try to go out for a walk. Yesterday I don't think I did, and I felt terrible. Like I was getting sleepy. I was waiting for stand-up to happen. So like at the very end of the night, you have what's called stand-up, where you get up with your project manager, and there's like 10 of you in your cohort, and you basically just kind of go around robin and just talk about what you did or what you struggled with. And I felt crap. I felt terrible because I didn't really take care of myself, because I had a burger for lunch and terrible diet, and I just sat here on my computer the whole time. They actually tell you your very first day, they're like, on lunch you need to get off your computer. They're like, don't, whenever it's your lunchtime, get up, go do something, because they actually will tell you that your mental health and your physical health, if you just sit here and do this all day, it's gonna go down the tubes. So for me, I do my absolute best. Basically, I just take a walk, and I keep a jug of water with me. And oftentimes, a lot of what they talk about sometimes is all like theory and stuff. So what I'll do is I'll literally just get up and I'll just pace back and forth in my room with my speakers as high as possible and just listen. But yeah, it's definitely something you need to be aware of. That's actually a really good point. If you've never worked from home before, especially, you're gonna have some trouble. Like before this, I worked at a call center for a really short time. So I sat behind a computer anyway, but at least I was like in a very well-lit room with people around you that you can talk with and all that kind of stuff. Whereas here in my own house, like you see the lighting here is terrible, and I'm here all alone. So you need to get out and get some sun.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason why I'm asking is, well, I'm in front of the screen all day since I do IT for my full-time job. I'm thinking doing this, being in front of my laptop all day, I will eventually burn out. Even when I go out for like a 1 hour walk, my eyes are still tired, and we can only hold so much information in one day.
Yes, absolutely. And definitely something. So I have a 13-inch MacBook Pro. If you can, get an external screen, because I don't have one, and I'm looking at a 13-inch screen all day, which is even worse. So definitely get at least like maybe like a 24-inch screen or whatever. That way you're not like straining your eyes so much and all of that. But yeah, it's definitely a little challenge that you'll face trying to.
Are you looking for another monitor?
I mean, I don't really have the money for one, or else I'd go buy one. But I mean,
because I have plenty, I can just mail you one.
I mean, honestly, dude, if you have one and you have an HDMI cord, I would freaking love one.
Yeah. Send me your address and I'll mail you one. I will send you a DM of all the different sizes that I have. I'm in this IT field where I have all this recycled hardware. I can just get rid of it.
Well, I'd really, really appreciate that. I'm definitely going to hit you up on that. I remember now this was when I was in high school and stuff, But I remember when I did IT, we ended up having to clean out the mezzanine, the upper part of this warehouse, and they were all old CRT monitors, and they were like 32-inch CRT monitors. These suckers probably weighed like 80 pounds or whatever.
Yeah,
And
those
we
were the
carry these
yeah.
darn things down the mezzanine. But that totally reminded. I don't know, man. Like, talking about like recycled stuff. I remember we just started chucking over in our mezzanine, like, instead of carrying those things up and down. But yeah, if you have extra ones and they work, hell yeah, I'll definitely. I would love one because
Yeah. Just send me a message after our call.
yeah, the eye strain is definitely real with this. But yeah, guys, I mean, as far as, and if you guys haven't really taken a look at it, I don't know how far each of you are as far as things. I know, Rosa, I know you said you did some HTML, and have you started CSS yet or no?
Yes, I've done some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
Oh, okay, awesome. Okay, I didn't know that. Definitely, I know that Timur's been posting it. Definitely take a look at doing some pair programming, especially if you have time. Because I know I did it with one of the people from our chat once, and it was amazing. Like, I learned a ton. So learning by yourself it's fine, but you won't really know what you know until you actually use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, to go back to the stipend, would you happen to know, like, what's the chance of getting one, or do they give, like, is it very rare to get it?
From what I understand, it's a not so best kept secret, so they don't advertise it on the website. However, Austin, who is the CEO, or is he the owner? I think he's the owner of Lambda. He posted on his Twitter, and I don't know exactly how they work yet because you have to. Jarek got his, but he got his because he started he had his interview and then he started class the next day. He was a really weird case. But Karen Zachary, who is the admissions person, when I asked her during my interview, she was like, come back and talk to me in 2 weeks, because they don't want to give it out just for you to take the $1,000 and never come back. They want to make sure that you're actually doing it. So she told me, at least, she's like, do it for 2 weeks. As long as you get passing scores on all of your sprints, and as long as your project managers say that you're doing well, then you can have it. Now, Jarek told me that he had to write an essay for his.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know if mine's going to be the same way or not because he's doing iOS. I do know, however, I'm not sure, if either one of you are interested, but I know she told me that iOS development actually has 2 experiments. The first experiment is the $1,000 a month stipend. The second one is they give you free housing in San Francisco.
Well, I think I saw his Twitter, and he said the same thing for Android. I believe that's what I read.
I know it's not. I asked him about that for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I asked them that for full stack, and they're like, no, we don't have that yet, because I live in a teeny ass little military town here in North Carolina. There's nothing here, So I was like, yeah, I would love to move to San Francisco or whatever, but they're like, yeah, iOS only. So, and I already got accepted, so I was like, I'll just stick with full stack.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep you posted. I'm gonna keep everybody posted on that because I'm really anxious about that too, But I gotta at least get halfway through this next week, and then I'm gonna talk to Karen about it and see what I gotta do. So I'm not sure exactly how it works. If you have to apply for it, like I said, it's not advertised on the website, so I'm assuming it's kind of like a not so best kept secret. So I know that Lambda recently, I don't know if they got acquired or if they got a grant for like $34 million. So that's where that money's coming from for the grants and stuff, is they're looking to invest more. So, but I'll definitely keep you posted on the stipend though.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same. Hi. Yeah, some really great stuff. Something that I am really considering down the line. If anything, I might even consider part-time so I can continue with my full-time job.
Yep. I know, so with part-time, I don't know if can I see the syllabus for part-time? I think they told me that for part-time, it works a little bit different. So like for us, we have stand-up every single day. I think part-time is like every other day.
Yeah.
Were you looking at just full stack, or were you looking at like Android or what there?
I'm aiming for a full stack. Well, I've been doing front end for the for the past 2 years. I'm pretty comfortable with that. So looking for something that's more back end. But if I were to actually quit my job and go full time with this, the first portion working on the front end wouldn't be a problem for me. And even with that being said, as you personally, Thomas, as you're progressing through this course, if you ever come upon any questions towards front end, definitely let me know. You know, I can definitely help you out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you know? Like, do you use Mac or Windows?
I use Mac. Well, for my development, I use Mac, but at work and stuff like that, I use Linux and Windows.
I got you. Yeah, I know. How much do you know about the terminal? Like, do you know how to use the terminal and everything?
Yeah. Run little bash scripts, automate stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I do. Yesterday, just learned Git, and that was my first time messing with the terminal. I think I followed a couple of Traversy Media videos where we ended up installing SAS. I think, or no, it was Bootstrap. I think it was, and that was like, you know, the first time I really ever used the terminal, but I didn't really pay attention. So I'm just now kind of starting to learn the terminal. I know next week we're getting into CSS preprocessors, so we're going to have to use the terminal again. But if I have any questions on that, I'll certainly try to shoot you a message. Because
yeah, I think one thing that would really help is doing some sort of customization on your terminal, changing the colors, adding icons, and since you're going on to learning Git now, one thing you can do is on the terminal next to the terminal prompt icon, you can add either what branch is it in, master branch, a sub branch. That would really help you in the long run. I can show you how to do that as well.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. Can I? I don't know if I can.
Do you know, like, if full stack you can apply to jobs like software engineer jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. There was somebody who somewhere around here, they got a job as a JavaScript game programmer.
Oh wow, you got to know the HTML canvas. So that's some stuff right there.
Yeah, let's see here. Oh goodness, this is the hired.
And he studied what? Full stack or something else?
I think
full stack.
Him.
Okay.
It was him. Let's see. Yep, game programmer. That's him right there.
Hey Rosa, may I ask, what is how long have you been coding, or should I ask, how's your coding journey, Rosa?
Well, I've been like self-learning on my own, like maybe gonna be 1 year already, and I've just been like trying out different things, and like, okay, I can tell you the whole story. Like, first I tried Python and Django, and I was trying to do a web app because I bought this tutorial book from this lady who made her book and videos and everything. And this was back like maybe 2016. Then maybe it was like longer, but I only did that on the weekends trying to do the web app. And I did like I started my server and I got to that part, but then I got stuck. And then after I started changing to different languages after that, I started to learn I already had learned HTML, making websites from school. When I was in school, I studied graphic design, so I had to learn how to do website. So that's when like I did a website already, and that's when I became interested.
Wow,
in it.
yeah. And one thing about learning Python and Django is those tutorials that you start off are great. They spoon feed you every step of the way, but when you need to build very customization stuff, then things start to get really complex.
Yeah, I had no idea. I learned the terminal and all that, and I had no idea what I was doing. And then to answer my question, I would like email the lady, the author, and then she would respond maybe like a day later, and it was difficult. So it was like, wow, let me try something else and see how that goes for a while.
Wow.
So after that,
so then you yourself, Rosa, are you aiming more towards full stack as well?
well, right now, okay, I jumped ahead and I started learning Java because I got a scholarship for Android development.
Oh wow, okay.
And I just finished that. It's Android Basics, and I don't really know enough Java because its basics is not supposed to be job ready. So I started learning. I don't have the money to pay for the advanced classes, so I started learning from the free classes. Udacity has free classes on there, like
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and today I started up on, actually I was just watching the videos and then just kicking back, watching videos, taking break from the hard work that I was doing earlier with Android basics. The nano degree, I earned it, so I was starting the next lessons, and I was just started today doing the exercises.
Oh wow, that's great. Seems like you've been very productive. So if you were to enroll into Lambda School, Rosa, are you planning to go with the Android development since you're have been learning that route already?
That's what I don't know, because I've already learned some website, and I'm just like undecisive. But what I want to do is like either do deferred or get a scholarship or something like that, where I can, it's be more affordable, because I'm unemployed right now. So I'm trying to find out, like, I need to get the ball rolling already. So
Yeah.
I did apply to some scholarships already. So I'm waiting to hear about that. And
Yeah.
it's for web development. So we'll see if that comes through. But if not, that's why I wanted to see what else is out there. And I heard a lot of good things about Lambda. And I'm actually not sure, to be honest. I'm leaning toward web development, but I also like Android.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. It seems like you've been jumping around. I mean, I'm in a very similar situation. Yeah. I started off wanting to go into data science, I went to Python, then I jumped into web development, now I'm full in web development.
Yeah, and there's more resource with web development. So that's the bad part. Like if I go to Android development and even pair programming, it's with JavaScript. So I don't think I find a partner in Java. So and it's harder to learn too. And I don't think I can even solve any challenges in Java.
Are you located in the East Coast or the West Coast or
West Coast? Here in Silicon Valley, right in the middle.
Okay, I live in San Jose, so we're pretty local.
Are you serious? No.
Local.
I'm in San Jose too.
You're in San Jose as well. Well, there you go.
Yeah. There you go. Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah, here in Silicon Valley, regarding software engineering job opportunities, web development is very high, especially.
Yeah, there's more jobs than that, isn't there? So that's another reason I was like, maybe I'll do web development.
Yeah, I do a lot of job search, and I subscribe to like Indeed and LinkedIn. So I have to. I don't see as much Android and iOS as opposed to JavaScript, and one of the reasons is not so much having a web base, but because of all the front end frameworks such as Angular, Vue, and React. They can also, that convention of write once and deploy both to desktop and mobile, such as using NativeScript or React Native. So I think if you were to go towards the web development, that'll be a good start. Down the road, if you happen to change your mind, there's always Android.
Yeah, that's something I was thinking of. Like, do maybe Android like on the side after I finish and get my career, and then I could like do on the weekends or something like that. But maybe I could focus.
You don't really have to choose, because with JavaScript, you can write everything. With React. With React and all of that, you can build, iOS apps.
Yeah, I actually have worked in React. I don't know how I got into the master's program from Facebook Circles, and they accepted me from last August, and then they just put me there, and I was like, oh, how do I do this? But I did some React apps with Facebook.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Rosa, one other option, Rosa, is if you choose not to do with Lambda School because it's remote, you have to be at home. If you're more comfortable being at an actual environment, an actual school to learn, there's Hackbright in San Francisco, all women's coding.
Yeah, I need to study for the challenge, and Hackbright uses Python, so I have to decide like if I'm gonna go study Python or study JavaScript, because the other schools do JavaScript. So that's another thing I do need to decide as well.
Oftentimes though, Python and JavaScript, when you learn one, it's quite easy to learn the other, especially like a lot of things are very similar with it, especially if you use like ES6 and above JavaScript, then it's basically all class-based, just like Python as well. So if you learn, a loop in Python, it's the same thing as a loop in JavaScript. It might look a little bit different, but it's basically the same thing. You can always take the class for Python and just kind of like do a chunk away at some self-studying JavaScript as well. I know, God, who was it? I think it was there was somebody in the chat or whatever at one point that they only knew Ruby and Ruby on Rails is all they knew, but they ended up self-teaching themselves, everything else that they needed in order to get there. Because I mean, ultimately, all the languages are somewhat similar in some way,
Yeah, but I was thinking remote because I'm not too a social person, so I mean, like, I'm okay with learning here on my own. Udacity is like that, so we learn. We have live help in the channels and stuff like that.
Yeah. But remember, it's extremely important also to kind of network as well. Like earlier today, we had I did tell Rosa earlier, we had what they call a brown bag for Lambda, where they have like guest speakers come in and talk. Today they brought in 3 engineers from their hiring partners to talk to us and stuff. 2 of them were smaller startup companies. One of them was a senior engineer from Blue Apron that are partnered with Lambda. And they basically just sit there and, you can send them Twitter messages and everything. And it's a great way to kind of, get yourself known.
Oh, yeah, that's
you
true.
can be a fantastic coder, but if you don't have any context, you're never going to get it. Whereas if, you're an okay coder, you have a better chance if you're friendly with everybody.
Yep.
So that's something to consider. But yeah, I mean, is there anything specific that, anyone wanted to see, as far as like the curriculum or anything? I know I kind of bounced around a little bit.
From the screen that you're at right now, is it okay if you scroll down on the weekly agenda, left panel, how it's the intro to user interface and all that. So React, intermediate React, and then Redux, and then learning how to build RESTful APIs, and then authentication, and then backend, and then if you keep going down,
and then it's all about computer science. You have an entire month of computer science.
Oh, those are the fun stuff.
Those are the good stuff. So you do learn Python and object-oriented. You do learn a little bit of Django. I don't know exactly how much. They also teach you a little bit of C. From what I understand, they actually bring in a college professor to teach computer science. So it's actually somebody who is qualified. And by the way, my instructor is somebody who has been a senior engineer at a couple of bigger Fortune 500 companies for like 15 years, he said. And
wow.
The people who teach this stuff and like the project managers are ridiculously qualified people. That was the thing that I was a little worried about is, exactly how qualified are these people to actually teach this stuff? And they are really, really qualified.
I see. Okay.
But,
yeah. But just to reiterate what you said, I know you mentioned this many, many times, and it's actually a little late. This is a 6-month program. 6-month program. And after graduation, when you get hired in your first job, you would pay back, was it like 17%? I'm just throwing out numbers here.
Yeah, that's okay. No, 17%.
For the first 3 years or 2 years?
It's 2 years.
Okay.
If you don't take the stipend. If you it's 17% for 2 years with a cap of $30,000.
Oh wow. Yeah.
If you get the stipend, they tack on an extra year, and the cap is increased to 40,000. So it's either 2 years, 17% for no more than 30, or if you get the stipend, it's an extra 1 year at a cap of 40,000.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
But that's still a lot. If like when you get your first job, you should be getting paid how much?
For you guys there in San Jose, it's going to be far higher than somebody.
It's going to be a lot. So the 17% might be a lot.
Yeah. So you're thinking, I don't even know what the job market there in San Jose is. I mean, what starting salary might be like $90K or something like that, 80,000 or something.
Yeah, starting at starting at 80, so average is about 100,000. So 17, what, 17, 70% out of that?
Yep. So just under, so what, maybe
It'd be like
50,000 or something like that?
40,000.
Yeah, at a cap of 30,000 though. So I mean, if you
Oh yeah, cap. So then it would be still.
so no more than 15%, or it's not exact because I mean, also remember too, it's 2 years, but you're going to get promoted, you're going to get bonuses and crap within that year, so your salary is going to change. You know, so you know your starting job might be at like $70,000 or $80,000 or whatever. But then, you know, 6 months later, you might get a promotion like 110 or something. Or I think we had a interview with a guy from Twitter. I think he started out at 118 or 115 or something like that with Twitter. So, yeah, it seems like a lot of money, but like for somebody like me who's never really had a job making over $30,000 a year, it's a very small price to pay.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
There in San Jose, I know things are way crazier as far as finances go. You know, so you know, money over in San Jose means something way different than ours. You know, you guys have crazy taxes and cost of living and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to move here.
Yeah, rent so expensive.
Yeah, the cost of living is very high here, even though there are more software engineering opportunities. In the East Coast, such as Philadelphia and New York, Washington, from what I've been told, job opportunities in terms of software engineering roles are pretty high as well.
I've heard that Apple is creating a smaller headquarters in Charlotte.
Oh, there you go.
And stuff. Yeah, I live about maybe 4.5, 5 hours from Charlotte, I think. Originally, I was thinking about, so, you know, after I graduate from Lambda and all that, I am going to move. I'm like, you know, I'm either going to move to Atlanta or Miami or Phoenix, something like that. My sister, my brother-in-law is a drill instructor for the Marine Corps up at Camp Pendleton. So they currently live in Oceanside. So I was thinking about trying to move further that way so that I could be near my sister and stuff, you know. But
That's
yeah.
great. Have you, Thomas, been here in the West Coast before, the San Francisco Bay Area?
I've never been to the San Francisco Bay Area. The closest I ever got was San Diego.
San Diego. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My girlfriend and I went over for a little vacation. My girlfriend is Singaporean, so she lives in Singapore. So we met in California and we spent 2 weeks. So we spent 2 weeks. We spent like a week or so in LA, which LA is like not really great. And then
New world, yeah, whole new world.
A couple of days in San Diego. San Diego was amazing. I love San Diego, but I haven't got to San Jose yet.
San Jose yet? Yeah, I used to work for GoFundMe, and their headquarters is in San Diego. So when you graduate, pass me your resume and your portfolio. I'll slip it on the recruiter over there because I know him personally. I'm not sure if you want to relocate to San Diego since you want to be more towards the East Coast, but it's good to have options.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, like, especially so I talked to Timur about kind of the whole moving thing, and basically he was like, for the first 6 months to a year, basically take whatever you can get. You know, you need to build a portfolio. You really can't afford to be super picky at the very beginning of your career. You know, you at least need to get something. And then once you actually start building up a resume, then start being a little more, you know, choosy and everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind. My plan is to, after about my first 2 months at Lambda, is to begin looking for like internships or some part-time jobs, or maybe even see if I can do some freelancing work on my own. Because within the first month or two, you basically have front end like done. You know.
Yeah.
After that, it's all about APIs and back end. So.
Yeah. In terms of freelancing, an option you can do is go into Upwork.com. Have you heard of Upwork?
Yeah, I have. I spent a little time at Upwork at one point.
Okay. Well, it's great because there's all these projects that you can contribute. It sucks because they take a high commission off you.
Yeah, I saw that. The pay there is horrible. But at the same time, I mean, anything I could throw on my resume is good. Plus, too, I mean, if I make just a little bit of extra money on the side, it's not like I'm doing anything. I'm either home learning how to code or I'm at home coding. So, I mean.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Hey, Claire, I'm sorry for leaving you out. Are you located in the East Coast or the West Coast?
East Coast, Miami.
Oh, it's like we're like 50-50 over here.
Oh,
It's not a competition.
Yeah.
Definitely
I
not.
see. Are you considering Lambda as well, Claire?
um, I was in the beginning, but I'm not really looking towards the bootcamp route due
I
to
see. Yeah,
financial reason and
yeah,
family.
I see. Yeah, a lot of applications. I'm the same as well, 50-50 personal and all these job and all these obligations we have to do. Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and that's why I decided to self-teach myself for the last 2 years and build a portfolio on that. But yeah, Lambda is something that I've been considering for a long time, as well as other boot camps. And your presentation, Thomas, it was great. I mean, I really like the curriculum, your experience so far. It's only been the first week, right?
yeah, it's only the first week. I just finished up my first week. I think I finished up about 6 o'clock or so, and then I basically crashed on the couch, and I'm like, I'm alive. So,
when I was looking into boot camps and I heard about Lambda School. Lambda School from my home is about half an hour away for the actual quarters, half an hour's away. I read a lot of previous experiences from previous students on Reddit,
Mhm.
and then a lot of students said that for the first month learning HTML and CSS and a little bit of JavaScript, it was great. They had a great experience. But later on, things start going downhill, in terms of like lecture quality and participation and all that. So down the road, I would like your opinion as you progress.
yeah, absolutely. I plan to. So what I was thinking about doing was I was thinking about making a YouTube channel and doing like weekly updates because sorry, I thought I saw something. Just to kind of give people a bit of a perception, because the thing with Lambda is it's new. I think it's only been around for like a little over a year or so, and they're tweaking their curriculum even now. Like at the end of every day, you do a what the hell do they call it? It's what they call a stand-up form, which is you just kind of write down, you type out or everything that you've learned, anything you had trouble with, and you always give them feedback. Based on the feedback, if they get enough of it, like we actually just got them to change the curriculum yesterday, I think it was, because there were so many people who didn't have an IDE set up. So they had to basically incorporate, somebody had to take an hour and make a video on how to install and set up VS Code and stuff. So I don't know if it's the same instructor for backend as it is front end. I think his name is Josh Nell. I think he's super, super good. I'm really enjoying, his lectures and stuff. And actually, they post every lecture. They record every lecture and post it to YouTube. Right. So if you ever want to see what his teaching style is like, let me see if I can find yesterday's video. Because he records it, he uploads it. At the end of class, he actually gives you the link if you want to go back and rewatch it, in case you missed something or whatever. I'm definitely going to let you guys know what backend is like, because I've never done anything backend before, really. So I'm a little bit, kind of nervous on that. As long as it's the same instructor, it should be fine, but they very well may bring somebody else in for backend specifically. Let's see. Here it is. Is this it right here?
Oh, there you go.
Yep, this is it. Oh yeah, this is just all about GitHub.
GitHub.
So, yeah, I'll throw this. This was our lecture yesterday. How do I work this contraption? There it is. But yeah, I'll post this here in chat if I can figure out how to. And just in case you guys want to see like kind of what the teacher is like and stuff, that's him there. They very well may have a different backend instructor. I honestly couldn't say, but hopefully it's good, because I've never done backend. So we'll definitely see. But yeah, I mean, they change their curriculum all the time, trying to get things to work better, because they are a brand new company. So they don't have it's not like Hack Reactor or App Academy that they have like a solid ass, really good curriculum that they've used for a decade.
Yeah,
this is a brand new company with a brand new curriculum. So
yeah, wow, that's great. Yeah, a lot of good stuff. definitely looking forward to your experience as you progress. And then who knows, maybe like next year, beginning of next year, I'll definitely consider jumping, and just making a jump for it.
Yeah. If at any point, and this is for any of you, if any of you want to get together and do some like pair programming or whatever, let's definitely do it. Because it would definitely help me, to reinforce what I'm learning. And if it's something you're learning as well, I could even, if you want, I can even share the whatever resources that Lambda gives me as well.
Can you? I am kind of curious. I do want to see them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can always share my screen and see. If you want, I can even give you the zip file for some of the projects as well.
Did you have to sign an agreement saying you can't share these files with others?
Nope. These here are all they're all under a public repository on GitHub.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yep. All these projects here are on public repositories.
Great. Yeah. I'm all in for pair programming. Over here in Pacific time, I'm off work at 5:30. So anytime if you three wants to start, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, data structures and algorithms, we can definitely do that as well. And then Rosa, since you and I are local, if you ever want to meet in person, I work and live in North San Jose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think I'm around close to there. I live near the train station.
The train station? Yeah. If anytime you want to meet like a Starbucks or a cafe and you have questions, definitely help you out as well. Just send me a message if anything.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely pair programming. I haven't filled out that one survey or form yet regarding my availability. I'll definitely do that soon.
Yeah, I probably have to study a little bit before doing pair programming.
Well, I mean, we can always do some simpler things and whatnot. I mean, a lot of things that we did. I think when I did pair programming, this is before I really did much JavaScript. We were building a calculator from scratch, which was an insane amount of JavaScript because we had to make it.
Yep.
Some crap like that, and I was like, huh.
I did a to-do list. I think I will go over that and maybe do it again so I could understand it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we can definitely
The
do that.
one time I took a Java class, which was like 2 years ago, my final project was a vending machine.
Oh, wow.
That was challenging.
Was there a
but
new...
that's what go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was saying, but that's what I love the challenge. That's what made me really really got me to like get into learning programming and coding.
Yeah.
A lot with explaining it as well. That's super huge. Explain it to each other. What you're thinking, what you're doing. It really helps. If you guys have it, VS Code has a fantastic plugin called LiveShare. And LiveShare is amazing for pair programming because you can literally, you both can type, on the host computer, and you can even type in two different files at the same time and save the files to their computer and stuff. So you're literally, you're not having like a driver and a navigator. You're both driving, on one computer, which is super, super cool for pair programming.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Is it like a Dropbox?
No, it's in VS Code. It's right in VS Code is a plugin in the IDE called LiveShare. Basically, what happens is if I want to start a collaboration session, I got to sign in. It'll give me a code to give to you, and you type that code into yours, and it links our VS Codes together.
Wow.
And then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then as you're typing, I can see what you're typing on my screen. It's updating live, and then I'm typing, and it's allowing us both to type at the same time.
Oh.
Which is super, super neat.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll definitely have to set some stuff up. And Claire, if you
any of you, yes,
want anything from data, if you have any questions about Lambda's data science, I can definitely see if I can get some information from their curriculum or something like that for you if it's something you might think about wanting to do in the future or something.
Yeah, I mean, I by looking at the curriculum, I do love how intensive it is. I after listening to that podcast with the last I forgot the guy's name, but he's from Flatiron
Oh,
school.
Ivy or something? Ivy, the founder from Flatiron.
Yeah, before we were bought it from them, and he I went to look at their program. They do have a data science. A lot of the schools starting to have the data science program. To be honest, although I've been in the group, I literally was one of the first 3 or 4 people who was in the peer circle when Timur started it, and it's amazing how much it has grown now. Like we're like at 50 something now. Anyways, I always felt a little bit of an outsider because everybody was learning to be a software engineer, and I'm like, but that's not what I want to do. Is there anything else that I can learn to code for? And I know I've always been into data, which is why like any of the guest speakers who were self-taught engineer, I like try to learn from their techniques to incorporate that in my learning experience and see how that would help me along the way. But Flatiron has a self-paced live online program, so I've been looking at it. But it's again comes down to like the cost and stuff. It's not like Lambda where you pay later, but you kind of have to pay up front. And even in my case, I wouldn't be eligible for Lambdas because you have to be a citizen to um,
For the
be part of.
different.
For the one you have to pay after, you have to be a citizen. And although I'm not a international, but I'm not a citizen yet, so I will have to pay up front, and I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, if I had to pay up front, I wouldn't do this, honestly. I don't have $10,500 or whatever it happens to be.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you guys mean. My first choice was Hack Reactor, and it's up to $20,000. You know, if you take it a loan, you gotta pay the interest. So $20,000 up front. Can't do it.
Yep. I mean, if I had the money, or if they offered the full program, I would kill to be. I mean, Hack Reactor and App Academy are some of the oldest and some of the most prestigious, boot camps there are, and they make some really good stuff. But it's just it's really expensive. But,
I've been thinking of taking the Udacity Nano Degree program and data science. It's like $1,000 upfront or $84 a month. So that's more doable. Still kind
Yeah,
of
and sorry. Yeah, they have a firm, like it's a loan program that you can also apply to that. Well, for the nano degree.
Oh.
yeah, for the Nano Degree program. I've been doing the data
Yeah.
science path in Codecademy, and I gotta say that I've learned well, it's a lot of reading, as Thomas has mentioned earlier. Codecademy is a lot of reading, although you do the exercise by following the steps and stuff, but you have to like learn, you have to read, which I don't really mind, but I'm more of a hands-on person, so I sometimes just really fast forward through and get to the part where I have to actually code.
very, very true. Because
But
especially with that, you have to apply what you learn, or you're not really learning. Like you think you got it until you come back tomorrow, and then you're like, "How do you do that again?" And then you realize you really didn't learn anything. Like you followed along, but I mean, kind of like what Will was saying earlier was, as you follow along, that's great. But until you actually apply it on your own, you won't really know whether you know it or not.
exactly. So I actually started taking notes of the terms that I'll be using, that I think that I'll be using often. So like I write it down, and I even had to stop a second to take the command line course so that I had to know how to use it, because they at a certain point during the path they're like, okay, you're using their code editor, but then you need to know how to use it in real life because you'll be using command
Yeah.
and stuff. So I had to go and download it on my computer, and the different libraries, what was it, Jupyter notebooks and all this stuff, like learning to use them. It was, I don't know how many YouTube videos I've watched to like learn these things, or I even bought a Udemy Python bootcamp
Mhm.
and a SQL bootcamp, although I haven't really started on them yet.
Oh, wow.
But
Oh.
yeah, I feel like I understood Thomas when he said in the beginning when he was a little bit all over the place, because that's how I felt too, until like I really settled on like, okay, data science is what I really want to do. More like even though I chose data science, but I'm still kind of iffy as to if I really want to go for databases or just doing data analysis. So I'm still like in between those two. But data, I know I want to work with data.
I see, I see. Since we're in the topic of coding boot camps, there are a lot of on-campus and remote coding boot camps that offer scholarships to people of color, women, and those in the LGBTQ community. There are a lot of them. Like one of them, since you want to do data science, I believe General Assembly, they have a remote program. They offer every cohort, every quarter or semi-annually, they offer like, I think a full or half, I forget which one, like scholarship towards those three groups. So
At General Assembly?
Yeah, General Assembly. Let me double check afterwards. There's this website that has a collection of all these popular coding boot camps, as well as when they have their scholarship. It's coursereports.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coursereports.com. Sign up for their newsletter. Every time when there's a new cohort or new quarter that comes in, I'll say, hey, all these colleges, all these coding boot camps are offering these type of scholarships for these type of groups.
Yep. But yeah, I know of one coming up. Maybe Claire might be interested in. It's a Flatiron, and they told me right now it's Atlanta. It's called the Opportunity Scholarship for minority people, I think, and they told me that they're gonna open it up for more places and for remote areas and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely something to look
cool.
into.
Yeah, well, it's probably gonna be a full. What I remember, it was a full scholarship, so that would be really cool to get one because the boot camps are so expensive, and I'm cheap. I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay back.
I want to get the education, but I don't want to pay anything.
Yeah, I might have to, but we'll see. I'm gonna go for that scholarship as well if I don't get the one I'm waiting for.
Hey, Thomas. Hello?
Yeah, hey.
If you don't mind, could you click on the storytelling with data that I see there?
I sure can. Sign in. All right, let's see what we got here. Objective. Oh, this is the storytelling with data. Okay, so this is just that. What about intro to? Yeah, okay. Visualizations. Okay.
Oh, cool.
This here. This is a module. Unscripted statistics. Okay. Curriculum. I've never actually looked at anything else before. Let's see what we got here. Record. Oh, I think that's literally all it is. Yeah, I don't even know what any of this stuff is, man. I wish I might actually sit in on some of the after hours for data science, just because I think it's something you really should know. But I think data science would drive me nuts trying to learn it.
For the Lambda Slack, do you guys have like 24, not 24, but like, do you have like live help you can put in the Slack, or
yeah,
you have a one-on-one mentor, anything?
Yeah, so you post in here. Let me see. There's a couple of guys here.
Like,
Lauren is the project manager, like supervisor. Let's see. There's a couple of them here where this guy here, Trevor, he's one of the project managers that answers a lot of questions.
Oh, they help you with the assignments and the coding and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can either post it. So there's actually a Slack specifically for that. It is FSW is full stack web. 15 is my class, and each class has an _help. This is where you go to ask questions. So like this one here is asking about like the flex properties. Let's see, Trevor again. He's freaking awesome. He answers everybody like right away.
How much time do you spend on homework after? Is it like 9 to 5 or 10 to 6 class?
So the way that it works is so after lunch, which is that's 12 p.m. your time. That's 12 p.m. Western time or Pacific time. You basically spend that time until the end of the day, 12 until 4 or so is spent doing project. So from 12 to 4 is the time to do homework. Anytime during that time period, you ask questions. And they're super responsive. Like you can see here, this guy here asked a question at 1:33, and Trevor answered him at 1:34. So these people are hired specifically to sit there and and watch for questions.
Oh yeah, the tutors. I know somebody who got hired to do that.
Yeah, that's actually what I was saying earlier. You can actually, if you're when you get to, I think it's your 3rd month, I think, or 4th month at Lambda, if you can apply to become a project manager. And if you're accepted to become a project manager, you put off your graduation for another 4 or 5 months or 6 months, and during that time, you're basically and it's a paid job. So you could potentially get a job in Lambda as a student.
So all these projects that you work on, you just upload them later on GitHub?
No, actually. So what happens is they're already on GitHub. So what you do is you clone it, and then so like let me find next week's project, and they actually teach you how to use have you ever used Git before? Have you ever used like the terminal for Git?
No.
No. Okay. Well then let me see here. Next week we'll do advanced CSS. This is next week's, and this here is the first day of next week. So responsive design is what we're going over next week. So at the very, very end here is the project. Here's the project, right? And it basically takes you to it basically takes you to GitHub. Everything is stored on GitHub. So then they teach you what you do is you fork it. And again, this is the way.
It just sounds so weird.
Will might know a better way to do it, but you basically fork it, and then you just copy this here. And then you just go here into the terminal. I like to change my directory to desktop, because I like everything stored on my desktop. And we'll do clone. We'll clone that over. And then it should be now onto my desktop. So let's see what my project looks like next week. Here it is. So it just pulled that file down from GitHub. This is the file I just downloaded. And let's see what it looks like. So this here is the project that I'll be doing on Monday, which I might actually do tonight if it doesn't look too bad. So basically, they leave you a README file, and in the README file, it tells you exactly what to do. So we just did that, set it up for GitHub or with Git, and let's see what we got to do. We got to review each design file. So basically, what happens is they give you a design file, and you have to build that. So that's the design file. So it's basically a project we did last week, but we have to make it now, I guess, responsive. So this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what they give you. They give you nothing. So basically what I do is I basically write the HTML and I build this. And this is this is responsive. So this is what it's supposed to look like on desktop. This is what it looks like on a phone. And this is what it's going to look like on a tablet. And I have to build 3 different breakpoints to make it look like that. And that's my assignment. Right. And they basically, I mean, you aren't doing anything that they don't teach you how to do. Right. So basically what the projects is whatever you learn that day, you have a big old project on. You know.
Put into practice what you've learned.
Oh, big time. This isn't, it's not like you're just, oh, let's just build a little, nav, or let's build, a little like carousel or something like that. You're actually building something full-fledged and everything like that. Now, obviously, with this, you're not expected to do any JavaScript on. This is only HTML and CSS. But Rosie,
I like that.
I was talking about, if you don't know, and like if you don't feel as though you're ready, you can always do things like this. I can always pull these up, and you and I could work on, just creating something simple like this, just a static web page. But using like responsive methods and stuff like that, using Flexbox or maybe even using CS grids, if you're feeling particularly adventurous. I haven't touched CSS grids in a while.
May I ask you a question? It might sound stupid.
No, not at all.
So with the experience that you have so far, you basically can you say that you will be able to not just build a website, but like creating email templates and things like that?
I can, given the time. A perfect example of me not having enough time is my project here. It wasn't required to do it. It was like an extracurricular type thing for me to do, but it was to create a contact form. And you can see here I didn't finish it. I got the HTML in, but I just ran out of time. If I have enough time, I can style that to look pretty. It'll take me a little while because, I haven't really done much with forms yet. But based on what I've learned in 2 or 3 days, I can build just about anything to look half decent. Now, it's not going to be like, we haven't really learned about gradients, which I don't even know if they cover things like gradients or animations or anything with CSS. So I can't do that. But yeah, I can build just about any static website, I feel, given the time. Now, Will has probably a hell of a lot more experience than I do, so he'll finish it a heck of a lot faster than me, and he's going to probably be all over it with CSS animations and crazy multiple Z indexes to make things pretty awesome and stuff. But it comes with time. What's important is you have the foundation, and in 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 days worth of experience, I built this. It's nothing really terribly impressive, but the cool thing about these is it's only it's only 4 articles, but I can easily copy and paste more articles in it, and it holds its shape, right? That's the cool thing about making websites is it's building the website for the now is important, but being able to lay a good foundation for you to be able to add to it later, that's when you did it right.
Do you implement like adding comments within your code? Is that something that you do?
I do. This is actually my sprint challenge from today. So this is my CSS that I did. Let me actually pull this stupid thing over. There we go. So this is my CSS. So I comment the crap out of everything, personally. So just because it's easy for me to read. I can't stand when people bounce around like crazy, because if you like, the way that I always think about it is if you look at it and you have to pretty much ask the person who made it what that means, then they did it wrong, right? So like, for example, let me go all the way to the top. This right here is the top here. So, my main nav, what do you think that is? That's my main nav, top content, my top content. Let me go back to my home here. So basically the way I do it is this up here is my main nav, just because it makes sense. This section here, all this here, that's my top content. This right here is what I called my middle content, like the boxes are my middle content. This bit here is my lower content, and this down here is my footer, basically. And I write my CSS in the exact same way. So I have my main nav CSS and my top content CSS. I have my middle content CSS. I even did my boxes. I personally, I used nth child to style the boxes. You can kind of use whatever you want, but I felt like using nth child. the middle and my footer. And then this is my CSS for the next page I built, which is the about page, which I follow the exact same template, the top and then the main section, the middle part, which is these articles. What I call them articles, but all these here, this is my main here, and I styled those accordingly. And I basically just start from the top and just work my way down. And every time I end a section, I comment it. This is the beginning of the section. This is the end of the section, and just post that section right in there. So
Okay.
I comment things a lot. Nobody's complained, so I mean, it's okay. Content page, that's for my form there. I just never got around to it. I'll finish that at some point. My HTML, I style that as well. Or comment that as well. Like, here's my index. Did I actually comment this? Normally I do, especially divs. If you've ever used a lot of divs, like they frown upon divs. You don't use divs that much. But when I do, I always comment. I always put a little thing here saying this is the end of the div. Because if you have a div within a div within a div within a div, you get confused when you have to delete one of those divs. Because if you delete the opening div, you have to delete the closing div. And I've got into a lot of trouble before where I deleted the wrong closing div or something, or forgot to delete the closing div, so I have to go find it. But I comment the crap out of my code, personally. Like here's some of my comments. My lower section, my footer.
Oh, baby. Oh my god.
Not very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Did you guys have any other questions or anything?
No, so far so good. I mean, I like what I see so far. Yeah, great. Thanks. I really appreciate you taking the time tonight to cover your experience and
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely plan to do this probably. I kind of want to do it maybe every week, probably after today, because I wanted to wait until the end of the week just to kind of share a bit on the sprint challenge, because I was really kind of nervous about it.
yeah.
But yeah, if anything notable happens, I'll definitely either hold a meeting, or like I said, I'll probably do like a YouTube channel where I just kind of do like a weekend review or something like that, because I haven't really found a whole lot of videos talking about Lambda. There's some that talk about like some other boot camps, but yeah, I definitely want to share that. But I'll definitely keep you guys updated. I'll definitely keep you updated, Rosa, whenever I get some information on that stipend, because I should know something about that towards like the middle of next week or the end of next week.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And keep us updated with your.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, if you guys want to do some pair programming, shoot me a message or whatever, and we'll get together. Will, since you're a bit more advanced, you might have to pick something that, pick some sort of a project or whatever. But we can always just kind of, especially with Rosa, I could definitely just replicate, one of my projects. I can just take one of my sprint challenges down, and we could just rebuild it if you want or something. It doesn't have to.
Yeah, that'd be good. Recently, I built a website for General Assembly. They have this pre thingy assignment, and I was doing CSS and JavaScript and what do you call it? I was doing a website, so I got a little refresher on it because I just finished their assignment just a while ago.
Definitely sounds good, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go and get ready to hop off here. I'm gonna go find me something to eat. I don't know why I'm gonna go find something to eat at midnight, but I am.
All right. Yeah, get some rest. It was quite a long call.
Yeah.
I mean,
Great. Thanks a lot. Lots of info.
Yeah. absolutely. Definitely hit me up on the Telegram chat or whatever if you guys have any questions or if you guys want to just chat. I know sometimes that chat can get a little like dead, but
Oh yeah, we'll definitely do that. I personally can talk all day. Then I realized, wait, Tom is over in the East Coast, man. It's midnight over there. He needs to rest.
Yeah.
Give him a
I
break.
forgot about that.
I'm actually on a high right now. I mean, ever since I finished that sprint challenge and ever since I got my grade, I mean, because what they do is they grade you on a scale of 1 to 3. So 1 is you didn't do it at all. 2, you did everything you needed to do, and 3 is you did everything that you needed to, as well as like more. And then after I ended up getting my score of, I ended up getting a 3 on my first one. I'm like, I'm not going to sleep anytime soon. I'm going to be freaking awake. No, I'm on a coder's high at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll definitely talk to you guys later. All right. Have yourself a good evening.
All right, you too.
Okay.
We'll stay
Yeah,
in
you
touch.
too.
All right, thank you.
See you later. Bye, Claire.
See you guys.
Bye, Claire.
Bye, Claire. See ya.
Bye.